Hello and welcome to this hour of code. If you guys wanted to make the Dino game like myself, if you guys want to experiment or learn coding, okay, in Unity, well, you guys have found the right video. So in this hour of code, well, 2 hours of code, we go over the basics of this game, okay, learn how to import packages, how to make Unity UI, implement buttons, collisions, and how we can manipulate, well, we're not manipulating anything, we're just trying to move objects so we get this nice little effect where it seems like these objects are actually, we're going forward, but actually we're not, okay? So if you guys want to do this, let's jump right into the video. So let's get started. So you can press the new project button, and then you can just choose any of the versions that you may have installed. I'm just going with 2020 version that I have. This is an LTS, I think. So yeah, so you choose any version you like. You don't necessarily have to be on this page, or because it depends like which Unity version you're using. For me, I have to like press on the core and then press 2D. Obviously do press 2D because we are doing a 2D game, so you want to use the 2D version, and then press create project, and there you go. I must admit, like, my computer was really slow the day I was making this video. In hindsight, I should have actually restarted, but yeah, you know what, here we are. So in the meantime, I'll actually show you guys the asset, the package that we're going to be using, and well, the struggles that I had opening it. Actually, kind of my fault because my Unity wasn't prepared to open up the asset in Unity. So here's the asset pack. I'm going to be leaving the description. I'm going to be leaving the link to this in the description, not the description, the link. So yeah, it's a cool package. I mean, it has everything that you would want. And yeah, I've checked it out. It's an awesome package, especially for this game. It's like perfect. So you guys can go ahead and download it as well. For some reason, my Unity wasn't really opening up when I pressed add to my asset. So what happens is usually I add it to my asset and I get an option to open it in Unity, but that really didn't happen today. So you'd see like it made me do it twice. I think it was because my Unity wasn't ready, but I'm not quite sure. So you press add to asset, and then eventually, well, in my case, eventually it popped up with the sort of like a small window at the top that asked me if I want to open this package in Unity. There you go. So press open in Unity, and again, it took me kind of like a minute actually in real time for it to open, but eventually it does open in Unity. Okay, so when you press open in Unity, it opens up. And then you can set it up from package manager as well. It's up to you, but I prefer doing it this way. And then you press download, and then press import. It for some reason wanted me to upgrade. Obviously I pressed install upgrade, and then yeah, I decided not to actually go through with the demo scene because I didn't want to waste any time. My computer was slow as it was. So I was like, you know what, let's just skip the demo scene. I wanted to get rid of the scripts as well, but I just wasn't quite sure if they were any of the like prefabs or anything were using the scripts. In hindsight, I could have actually skipped the scripts because I didn't really use any prefabs, or I don't even know if they have any prefabs. But yeah. So that's the package we're going to be using. You're all good to use that. It's an awesome package. You guys can go and check it out. Yeah. So yeah, right now we're going to be focusing on the basics of Unity. So at the bottom we have the folders. Okay. One of them is default, like the scenes folder, and the one that we just imported, that one has all of our assets inside. Now, this is the important bit. We have the scene view and the game view. Okay, in the game view, you can press maximize on play and press the play button, and that will actually load you into the game in a full screen view. Okay, not quite important for now, but it's important to know how to like do these basic things. On the left, we have the hierarchy. Okay, that's where all of our game objects are going to be. We're going to see that in a minute. And also in the game view, you can change to different sort of aspects, but that's again not that important. But it's important to, I mean, it's good to know where they are. This is the build settings. This is where you can actually change to different sort of platforms, given if you have them installed in Unity, and then you can do a build of that version. or the platform rather. Okay, and this project settings in physics 2D. Well, we're gonna be talking about this a lot actually. So let's just skip it. But this is, again, it's important to know where it is, so we can go to that quite easily. Right, so we start off with the scene view, obviously. I actually kind of do a bit of a cleanup at the start. I do want my projects to be nice and tidy. So what I do is I create a folder towards the end, I think, around the end here. But like first, for some reason, I want to show you guys how to create a script. Although we're not gonna get into coding that much right away. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of like creating scripts like this. So yeah, that's why I created it. So I created a script. I don't really want scripts to be out like that. Okay, so you can just press delete and the script would be deleted. All right, cool. Moving on. I tend to create folders for everything that I need. So my sprites would have a sprite folder, scripts would have a script folder, prefabs would have a prefab folder. Not quite sure if I need a prefab here at this stage. So, but yeah, I do like to keep my project organized. Okay. You don't necessarily have to do this. This is not a really big project. Okay, so it's not that important to create a prefab. So what I do is I just go to the scripts folder of the Dino pack, and I try to get all of this into my scripts folder. Okay, just so there's like no overlap, or I know where everything is. Okay, I kind of do a miserable job of it. Like I kind of fail initially to copy it, but then I managed to just select all of them and like drag it into my script folder, which is something I really like about Unity. I haven't really used Unreal or any of the gaming engine. Unity has been my first, and I like the drag and drop aspect here. So yeah, we have all the sprites in here, and I just dragged the sprite in here. That's the sky actually. And just I'm showing you guys how you can change any sort of script, any sort of sprite into something else using that sprite render component. Okay, and the transform component allows you to kind of move the objects, scale it up. Okay, so yeah, obviously I want this sky here. So I'm sticking with the sky. I think I do something funny here. I actually made the sky upside down, just to show you guys that you can rotate it using the tools at the top left or the transform around the top right. Okay, so I leave it around upside down. It's not until later that I actually change it, because when I start to move it, I mean, it doesn't go the direction that I want it to go, because its vectors are flipped. So yeah, it's not facing upwards anymore at this stage. So anyways, you don't have to turn it. I was just showing you guys how you can rotate this. Anyways, I think we move on to the scripting part here. So I go to my scripts folder and open up a script, and yeah, there you go. This is the script that's going to be used heavily to move all the scene objects. Okay, you guys won't see it right away here, because I take it really slow, like I go in steps. But yeah, this script is a big deal. So if this is the very first time you opening up a script, okay, so this is how it looks. So this is how it looks basically. So you have your class, you have the mono behavior interface. You don't necessarily need to know about these for this project, but I'm just going over the basic. Like, this is how a script would look. Okay, you can get rid of everything in start and update. You don't even need the mono behavior. Now you just have a plain and simple C# class. You can even make a static class if you wanted to. If you don't have any previous experience with classes and objects, don't need to worry about it. Just know every time you create a script, you'd be given this mono behavior interface, and that essentially gives us a lot of methods that we can implement. Start is one of them. Okay, start method runs when the game essentially starts. Okay, the very first frame. Okay, here what I try to show you guys is how we connect a script. Okay, so what I do is, instead of start, I just say yay, making a game. Okay, and then I go back. Obviously, you save. Control S for Windows, Command S for Mac. So you go back, and even if you play now, nothing's going to happen. You have to actually add the script to any of the game components. And right now, I'm going to just add this movement script to the Sky component, Sky game object. You can drag it onto the Add Component button, or you can just search up the name here. okay? And then you can see it gets added. Now once you play the game now in the console, you'd see the print statement coming out, okay? So you'd be having the print statement there that, yay, my game is I'm making a game, okay? So it's connected. That was the whole point of it, okay? That's the whole point. It's connected and we are off, okay? So this is the part where I kind of like mess up, like I couldn't even type my update. It was just so slow. My computer was so slow. Now the difference between update and the start is like the update runs every single frame. So you saw how Yay making a game got printed once. Just keep an eye out on the number now, okay, on the right on the console, okay? You'd see how the number increases so fast, okay? You can see there you go, see? So that's like running every single frame, okay? Not a second, it's every frame. So we do most of our stuff actually in the frame, okay, in per frame basis, okay? So we do most of the stuff in the update function. That's essentially like a game loop, okay? That is essentially like your game loop. So I'm just trying to show you guys here that you can move this item using the transform component. You can just change the value, okay? And here's where I just bring it back to its original orientation, okay? Did some positioning. I don't know why, and I go back to the, yeah, there you go. Go back to the script. There you go. So here, you can see using the transform, the translate method, you can make the character move, okay? So if you just launch the game, you'd see it moves. I mean, it doesn't move at the slow speed. It moves at 1 vector unit to the right per frame, which is not too fast, not too slow, but not what we want, okay? It's not ridiculously fast, it's not ridiculously slow. It's what it is what it is, okay? And but like it's not ideal, okay? So whenever we're doing anything in the update, we have to do time to delta time. Now what this does, it just makes sure we take the frame rate into consideration, so our speed is frame independent, okay? Like the movement speed, that is. All right, obviously your game's gonna lag if you don't have a good frame rate. There you go. You can see how the speed is much like it's moving at a much smoother rate, okay? I do this quite a lot actually. I do go from scene to game view and game to scene view a lot, because that kind of gives me it does give me a better view. Now what I do is I multiply it with an actual speed, okay? So here I just typed a 5f. F is for floating point numbers, okay? And you have to do that for any floating point numbers. You need to do that, okay? If you don't, the Unity assumes it's a double, okay? Now you'd see how it moves at a much faster speed. But there's a problem, okay? You don't want to go back and forth in the scripts to just change one value. Not a good practice, especially if you have someone working in the design side of things, okay? You want them to have access to the variables, okay? So what I do is create a float variable called speed and make it public, so I can change it from the editor. And now here I just, instead of writing down 5, I just get this type of speed, okay? Now if you move back to Unity editor, you'd see in the move script you have the speed field there, okay? And here's the best part of it. When the game launches, you can actually change the value on the go. Okay, I made it negative, so it just goes left, right. Anyway, so that's the point. Now, there's another part to it. Like, if you're working on a project, you have like multiple programmers working on your game. You may not want everyone to see your variables, okay? Because they may mess up your script. So what you do is you set it to private. Problem with that is, it takes away the field from the Unity editor. Okay, so when we come back to Unity Engine, you won't see the field anymore. So that's gonna be a problem for the designers and for us here as well, because we are the designers here as well. But what we can do is we can just make it a serialized field. What this does for our case is it allows us to have access to the field from the Unity editor. Okay, I never really bothered to dig deep into what it does, but yeah, it just gives us the I know serialized class helps us to save stuff locally, but yeah, so basically if you do serialized field, your variables, they do stay private, so other scripts don't have access to them, but the designers can have access to the values from the Unity editor, okay? So that is the field part. Now, moving on, let's see what we're moving on to. Actually, I don't really remember. I think I started to design my, talking about the ordering layer here. So I start to like put in different sort of objects in the game, but I can see this rock, okay. But the moment I bring it onto onto the sky, I can't see that, okay. I think I'm bringing up the ground as well. Now the thing is, they do get I think rendered according to the hierarchy, okay. I think that's by default, but we have the option to control which item goes in front of like other items, okay. I think they use the painter's algorithm here, and that is controlled using the order in layer, okay. In sprite render component, you have this order in layer, okay, on the right, and there the sky is on 0. Anything above that, okay, any object that has a order layer more than 0 would be painted on top of the sky, okay. And it's really important to know, because this game is about layers. So yeah, now bringing the the ground to the foreground, okay, by giving it order layer 1, okay. I don't know what I was doing. For some reason the ground just disappeared. Like, I didn't really pull that down that fast. Anyway, so yeah, it's important to know. I'm just scaling it, but like, that's not really important. The important part is that you know how to order layer, okay, so you can like set which stuff goes in front of which. I actually do like mess things up towards the end or the middle part, where for some reason my my ground just kept moving out of camera without any backup. Anyways, so we will get to that. Anyways, yeah, so do some like setup, like where I want them to be. Fun fact, I end up not using the rock because I was kind of running out of time. The way I implemented it, I needed to do some more objects, but I didn't. Never mind, not important. So right now I'm just showing you guys how you can duplicate stuff. You can just do right click on a game object on the hierarchy and select duplicate, as well as you can just click on it and press Ctrl D. So I just duplicate my cloud, and I've just placed in 2 of them. And as you can see already, you have a basic sort of setup of the game, where if you think about it, if you move the items, they can well, they'll look like they're moving. What I'm doing right now is I'm just going to each and every object and adding scripts to it so they can move. But I briefly show you guys that we can do an empty game object. But yeah, I'll get back to it. I do get back to it in a minute. But yeah, you can see all the all the items that have the movement script, they all start moving. So what I do now is I actually, rather than putting scripts on every single object, as these are background objects, what I do is I just make an empty game object, okay, for a couple of reasons. One is it's less work, and 2 is, well, you do create empty game objects quite a lot, okay. You can see now every single of the characters, they have the script, but there's like an easier way. So go ahead and remove all the like the script from all the components, all the game objects, okay. And instead what I do is I create an empty game object, and that game object would act as a parent, okay. So you right click and press create empty, and then reset the transform, that is essentially setting the position to 0, 0, and 0, and then make all of these items a children of this empty game object, okay. Now if we just add the script to this game object, what it'll do is it'll just move the empty game object. I'm just showing you guys that you can make the empty game object look like anything you want. But yeah, we don't want this to have a sprite renderer. We just want this to just be a parent of all the game objects and make them move, okay. So yeah, I'm just trying to show you guys that the game object would be able to move, and the idea we're trying to use here is the moment the game object moves, the empty game object moves, all the children would move together with it, okay. So we don't have to like copy and paste the code or add the script to every single of the game objects, okay. So essentially that's what we're doing right now. Well, I am doing right now, and you guys can. So you guys can go ahead and get started on it. So you put all the items slowly under the game object. So all of the game objects, they are children of the empty game object that we created, okay. So I just showed you guys that we can I just dragged in the sky so the sky moves. I don't know what I called it. I called background objects. Okay, so yeah, I just highlighted everything and just put it under the background game object, okay. And now if I enable, they all come back. By the way, enabling and disabling is a really important thing, okay. So you can just hide them from the scene view, or you can just disable it by unchecking that box at the top right, okay. Quite important to know. right, if you launch now, because the parent object, that is the background game object, it has a script attached to it, it will move, and in turn, the children would also move, which is what we want. Okay, we want all of them to be moving together. Okay, so moving on, we are going to be looking at how you can reset objects. So we are done with the movement. Okay, we're actually not like, yeah, kind of done with the movement. So what we want is we want it to be resetting as the object moves. We want to reset. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm just creating an empty game object, and it's not going to look like anything. It's kind of like the empty game object that our background object has. Okay, well, is. But this one would have a collider. So I've just added a box collider 2D component. You can just press add component and add it. Obviously, there's some properties that you can use, like size. Obviously, you have the material. We're not going to do that anyways. So yeah. So the idea for me is I'm going to have one resetter, empty game object on the right. Okay, so whenever the items, the background objects, they hit the resetter on the right, I'm going to respawn them on the left. Okay, so any of the items, if they hit it on the right, we're gonna have one on the left as well. So I'm just renaming in the one we have to reset our right, and then I have another one on reset our left. Okay, so I've just duplicated it, and that would be reset our left. Okay, I've also duplicated my sky. Actually I do duplicate the sky and ground quite a lot of times. Spoiler, I do it 3 or 4 times. Okay, so yeah, but for now you can just duplicate as many times as you want. The important part here is that you have one reset on the right and one reset on the left. Okay, so whenever the game objects collide with the resetter right, we're going to reset it back to the resetter left. Okay, so it spawns on the left. I actually I don't know what I was going for, actually, not here, but like I was trying to show you guys how there's a center of a game object. So you can see how the resetter left and right, like their center is way in the middle. I mean, obviously the center is going to be in the middle, but like like the spawning point. Okay, the center of origin of some sort. Okay, so that is kind of important to know. It's mainly because the way we're going to script, okay, is the moment the items hit the resetter right, it's going to be spawning on the left. Okay, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Now right now what you guys are seeing is I'm trying to essentially create a new layer. Okay, if you go back on the video, you'll see on the top right I've created a new layer. Okay, this layer is going to be the background layer. Okay, I want all my game objects like that. Okay, so I've just created a game layer. Okay, and this is going to be my background layer. Okay, so on the top right you can just do add layer and select background, or not select one, create background. You can call it something else, but I just call it background. Now all my game objects, the background game object, they are from the background layer. Okay, they're going to be on the background layer. I've made my resetter right on the background and also resetter left on the background layer. Okay, now you can see how we have these collisions happening. I just want my background to be colliding with background objects. Okay, although I do go back and forth on this because as it is a project and I didn't really practice it before, so yeah, I do go back and forth. So yeah, but yeah, for now, background objects colliding with the background objects. But yeah, there would be some errors coming up, but not now. Okay. Alright, so I've just created a background folder. All my background scripts would be inside the background folder. And this is one of those moments, like this is one of those moments where my computer glitches. It's like, oh my god, I can't do anything about it. Like, I can't move a script. It was that slow. It was that slow that day. Okay, so now it's time to work on this reset object. Sorry, not reset object, reset script. Well, actually, technically, even a script is a game object in Unity. Okay. Now, what we want here is a variable. Okay, that is going to be the address or the position where the game objects would get dragged to. Okay, would like respawn back to. So I want my resetter left's transform position, obviously, okay, for obvious reason. Okay, I want my objects, the background game objects, to go back to the resetter left. Okay, so that's why I have a public variable, public transform. You can name it whatever you want. I just named it resetter left. Now, obviously, I don't know if I do that mistake here or not, but sometimes I do. I would just play without connecting the script. I don't think I did that here, I didn't, but yeah, there would be an instance where I'd do that. Okay, so you just drag that reset object, and the moment you do that, you can see how we have a resetter left field. I'll just drag the resetter left game object from the hierarchy and placed it there. So now we have the resetter left. Well, we know the position of it, okay? And now in the next 5 minutes, I think I just go over the two important collision types. One of them is on trigger, and one of them is on collision. Okay, I do kind of go in detail on what they do. So they're essentially not the, like, you won't see the collision happening right now, like in terms of the gameplay, but I do go over how they're different and what they do. So trigger essentially is, the way I think about it is, whenever I want something that's going to be there in the game, okay, but it won't obstruct, okay, it won't stop my other characters from moving, okay, I make them something called trigger collider, okay, and we need a different sort of method to detect that collision, which is on trigger enter 2D. So I'm just typing up getting triggered in there, and the collision method, I've just typed up collided or collision, something like that. Okay, now I'm doing this just to show you guys the like two different the distinct types of collisions. Okay, so I don't know if I run into errors here or not. Probably not. Shouldn't. It's quite basic. It's actually quite elementary in terms of Unity, or anyone who's been working with Unity, but it's still, from time to time, I do forget about adding the rigid body or the collision. You know, it's just annoying. So just showing you guys how the box collider works. Like the default size of, whenever you add a box collider 2D, they, in my opinion, they always land exactly the size of the item, okay, the object, which is no different in this case as well. So whenever you add a box collider, you're more than guaranteed to have it like nicely resized, okay. Right. So again, I think I'm just going over like the fact that it's going to collide with the right and go onto the left, okay. I don't think what exactly I'm trying to do here. I think I'm just trying to show you guys the difference between collision and triggers and everything. Okay, and I get triggered because you can see I'm losing my mind because the collision. I think I didn't turn on the is trigger field. So on the resetter right, okay, on the resetter right as well as the sky object. They're both colliders would have this property called is trigger, okay, as well as, you know, every time you add something that is moving, okay, and you want to detect the collision properly, you need to add something called rigid body. That's like a physics object you need to have, okay, for the collisions. Now here I was trying to do something silly, like if you add rigid body, how it adds the physics, okay, and the sky falls down, you know, skies comes crashing down. They're like different. I don't know why I didn't show you guys. So they're like different sort of options. You can choose it. You can have it dynamic, set it to dynamic, and like change certain values. You can set it to kinematic. Kinematic is essentially you telling the physics engine that, hey, whatever happens, I'm gonna be in charge. Okay. I think I run into another error here, like not error, like unexpected outcomes. I think that's mainly because I didn't tick the is trigger box. Okay. Oh, there you go. I'm actually showing you guys that now. So you can have rigid body set to 2D, take the gravity away. That's what I do. Rigid body 2D to dynamic. Okay. And you can see how it's printing, I think, collision or trigger. My screen is like way too blurry at the moment. Okay. So yeah, when you do trigger, okay, the difference is like you can see how it can go through when it's trigger. When it's not a trigger, it can't. Okay, so whenever you want something to just act as a solid object, you don't turn the is trigger part. Okay, the moment you turn the is trigger part true, it does not act like a solid object anymore. Okay, so that's the like me going over and over again to show you guys that like the moment you turn on is trigger, it's going to act as a non-solid object. Now obviously for this reason, there you go, you can see how it's printing getting triggered now. Okay, now for this reason we need the other type of method, okay, the on trigger enter. Now you may be thinking like, why is it important? Think about it, in games you do want these sort of collisions a lot of the times. Okay, as a matter of fact, I use trigger more often than I use collision. So yeah, I had my resetter right to trigger, as well as my, I think I was just pondering if I want the sky to be a trigger or not. Fun fact, not fun fact, spoiler, I do make it a trigger because, you know, there's no need for anything to be, like, the sky doesn't need to act as a solid object. I don't know why I was pondering over it, but yeah, sky should be a trigger. Okay, so let's like there's no need for the sky to be a non-trigger object. Okay, I think the collision's working, and I was like, oh yeah, happy me, happy yes. Okay, so yeah, that's the trigger part, and that's what we want to do. So we have detected our collisions, both on the on collision 2D and on trigger enter. So we're all ready to start resetting the sky back to the transform of the resetter left. And here's where you see the problem, okay? The problem of the center of gravity of the object, okay? And this looks quite funny. This looks rather funny. So I'll just let you guys have a look. I'm just gonna stay quiet. Oh, I can't stay quiet, actually. I just talk a lot. Anyway, so you can see what happens. So obviously it gets collided, and obviously the transform is going to get reset to resetter left. Okay, it does go to resetter left. The problem is, like, the center of gravity, like the center of the object really, is there. And I was kind of like losing my mind. I was like, okay, what exactly, why is that? And then I realized, oh, okay, of course, because the object is way up there. Okay, the center needs to be in line with the ground, like the lower part. Okay, lower part of the camera. So yeah, I do like, so you guys can bring the resetter left. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Resetter left all the way to the so I'm just showing you guys that I want the object to be at the bottom layer, okay, like the bottom edge of the camera. So yeah, you bring the resetter left and both resetter right as well. I don't necessarily think I needed to do the resetter right because that's not spawning anything. Anyway, so yeah, you drag resetter left to the bottom edge of the camera, okay? I think for me it was negative 2.2 or 2.3, negative 5.2, okay. Yeah. Although do go with the numbers that you see on the screen, not what I'm saying. So, because like I'm doing a voiceover, obviously, and my computer isn't giving me the high res video. So you guys, when I do the final render, it would have the final. I will have the high res video, but for now, for me, it's quite blurry. So yeah, go with the video numbers that you're seeing on the screen, not what I say. Right, there you go. So it's fixed. Well, not fixed. I like taking the center of gravity into consideration. Now, from now on, I start the Hall of Pain for me because I, for some reason, just couldn't figure out the way to keep, like, not to have the camera show the background, like the interval of how many items I needed. Anyway, so yeah, so just show you guys if I didn't really do the if, so you don't type this up. It's just to check for the object names, but you can do that. Okay, you can do if the game object is something else, to like reset it to some other spot, for example for the sky and the ground. But I do show you guys another way, like using other resetters that have a center of gravity at a different level for the sky and for the rocks, but I didn't really bother about that here. Okay, so we don't need to type up the if block because it's not required. Okay, what exactly am I trying to do right now? I think I'm trying to get the rigid body of the sky. What exactly I'm trying to... Oh, okay. For the sky, it didn't really need to be dynamic. It doesn't hurt if it's dynamic. You can still do rigid body to kinematic. It's not a problem. Okay. Yeah, as I was showing you guys, like, it can be kinematic, it can be dynamic. It doesn't matter for this one. Static would, okay, it's not a static object, obviously. As I said, kinematic would be, we would be doing the physics collisions, not physics, like physics calculation. I would actually, in hindsight, I would have done dynamic. Anyways, so yeah, the difference obviously is, like, the moment you leave it to non-trigger and it's a dynamic object, you need to have the on collision. Okay, so on collision method would be working. Anyways, what exactly I'm trying to do? It's on the background layer. I think I'm just trying to see the resetting object. Okay, if it's like reset, if it resets or not. The problem here, like the things that you guys see, you guys can like skip over. Maybe I'll just skip over this part in the edit. Or maybe I don't know. So there's actually nothing wrong with this. I keep thinking that there's something wrong. Why? Like, I thought, like, both the skies were resetting. Actually, they were not. They were actually all good. Okay. It's just that there was a sky-sized gap between the camera and the other sky object. Thus, I have this empty interval. Like there's like, you see the empty side of it. Okay. I just need another sky. So put in like, have another sky object, like duplicate it and have 3 or 4 sky objects. So you have like at no point do you see the back. Okay, and I just busted my head for like, yeah, I was like looking at the code. I'm like, what exactly is going on? Why is it resetting both the objects? Yeah, I was just going over everything and like, okay, questioning my life choices, and obviously as a programmer, yeah, cause like it was really depressing. Cause like the object that's colliding should be getting reset. In my mind, what was happening, is like both of the items were getting reset. It actually wasn't the case. Okay, it was just like there was a big gap. Anyways, it gets fixed if you just have, yeah, there you go. I think I figured it out. At this stage, I figured it out. So I think just duplicate the sky, and then just reposition the resetters, and you're all sweet. Okay, so yeah, at this point, I figured. I think I did do some calculations off camera as well. I think I did a print statement to see which game object was getting reset, and only then I realized that it was working exactly the way I wanted them to work. It's just there's a gap. Okay, so yeah, go ahead, add another sky object so that you don't get any sort of interval. Like you can see, it's like you can't work with 2 sky objects, especially with the scale that I have gone with. If you can make the sky objects bigger if you like to, but yeah, so that's just me struggling through. All right, here's my 3rd sky object. Finally, I've seen the light at the end of the resetter tunnel. But like, I do run into this problem as well. And I do run into the problem with the ground as well. Like the ground item was giving me some headaches as well. So it's a whole deal. Okay, it's a whole deal. Don't put yourself through this. Just have enough objects, There's no point pondering over. Like just have more. Cool. Moving on now, we're going to move on to the ground object. Same strategy, okay? You just have a box collider. Here's the thing though, you want the ground to be solid, okay? You want the ground to be solid. So I was just thinking about it. Should it be a trigger? Should it not be a trigger? Should it be a trigger? Should it not? So obviously, I don't really remember if I went with the trigger and added a jump movement in a different way. Oh, by the way, I think I did 2 types of jumps for this game, and because I was using the rigid body jump, and oh my god, I just hated it so much. Towards the end, I kind of liked it, so I stuck with it and didn't want to do a jump using the enum, like 3 different sort of jumping states. But anyways, yeah. So for the ground, you just add a box collider and a rigid body. Obviously, we want the rigid body because the ground would also be moving. Okay, and as the grounds, they are not triggers, you want to have the other collision method working, which would be the the on collision. Oh, I forgot about this part. So the moment you turn them, you see, like when you have them as physics objects, they would be pushing each other away. Okay, I think I do end up making another layer. Okay, so if you guys are just following along, just add another layer, because the ground, I think logically as well, the ground should be a different layer. Okay, backgrounds, yeah, that's all good, could be, but the ground should be a solid object. So go to the top right and add a different layer. Okay, I don't know when I do that. I don't know why I didn't do the freeze rotations there. Not that it's going to make a difference of making them rotate, but yeah, moral of the story is you need to make another layer. Okay, maybe call it ground and set the ground objects to be on the ground layer. Okay, by the way, this, what you guys are seeing right here is I think it wasn't the ground objects pushing each other. I think I was doing some debugging, and I think it was the reset object. For some reason it was setting it to some other height. Anyway, so yeah, just added the ground layer. Okay, go to edit project settings, disable all the collisions except ground v what exactly I'm doing. It should be ground v background, although that kind of beats the point anyways. But yeah, I did this mainly for the player. When we get to the player, we need to have a ground player collision. But yeah, the ground should be on ground layer. Okay. Oh, I run into another error as well. Oh my god, the errors. I think this is the time where I think at some point during this video I had to like pee badly. And I was like, you know what, let's just finish this, let's just finish this, and I just kept having this issue, and yeah, just going crazy. So what I ended up doing was, one of the grounds, they were not on the ground layer, they were actually on the background layer, so the collisions wasn't working properly, and I just drive myself crazy. You can see I'm just testing out Kinematic as well now. Thank goodness I didn't test static. So yeah, moral of the story is, don't hold in P and try to code or work on a project, okay? Go P and then come back, because you're just going to end up making a mess of things. Yeah, although I don't know, I think I skipped some part out. I don't know if I showed you guys that on camera, but both the grounds are, like all the grounds should be on the ground layer. Okay, you can see that. Yeah, I can see that on the camera actually. On the video, you can see it's the ground 3 is still on background layer. That should be on ground layer. Okay, by the way, if you guys have missed it, I have changed the rigid bodies to kinematic. Don't remember if they stay on kinematic or dynamic. Yeah, don't think they stay. I don't know. I don't remember actually. I don't remember what I went with. For now, they're on kinematic. Okay. It still hasn't dawned on me that the ground 3 is on background layer. Poor me, holding in P and trying to figure out what's going on. Oh, I should have just gone to the toilet and like I relieved myself. Oh goodness. Okay, it's like now it's really fun to see, but yeah, it wasn't fun when I was just working on it. Right, so turn on the collisions. Not collision, like activate every other object as well. And at this point, I realized that the rock and the sky objects, they need their own separate. By the way, the rock and sky, they're making them kinematic. Okay, and also I think they're triggers. Make them triggers because they don't have to be colliding with anything. Yeah. Anyway, so the skies and the rocks, they need to have their own sort of resetters. Otherwise, they don't get reset at the position you want them to get reset. Okay, because remember the center of gravity of the resetter left. See at the bottom. So yeah, that's I do use another resetter, but that's not the rock and sky. You guys can add another resetter for the rock and sky. I didn't end up having enough time. Actually, I do kind of sprint through towards the end because it's taking it quite slow at the start. Yep. Okay, so everything's getting reset. We're all good except for the rock and tree, rock and sky, not sky, cloud. So you guys can add another resetter if you want. I think very soon I move on to the player, which is the most important part. What exactly? Oh yeah, I was just trying to show you guys that you can check for other game objects, for instance the rock and the sky, using collision.gameObject.name. Okay, and just compare it with the name. But yeah, don't do that. You can just quite literally add another resetter. That's much simpler to do. My god, my computer was so slow that day. Right, so I go back to the sprite folder, think about which one I want to use as a player, and then obviously the player script, player animation. Okay, so that's the animation, by the way. If you just drag it over, it'll ask you to create an animation folder. So you go back and create an animation folder. By the way, you can create folders from here as well. That's essentially the same place. So you can create folder here or in Unity, you're creating the folder in the same spot. Okay, so create a folder called animation, because the player sprite that has an animation component attached, or an animator, I think. I don't know why they called it die. So when I dragged it over, I just called it die. I initially thought that it was a die animation, so I tested it out. I was like, oh, but okay, I don't have a player animation. Why exactly is it calling it die? So I launch it, and then I see that, okay, no, it is actually the player animation. I have no idea why they called it die. Anyways, I wanted to do the game, as I showed you guys earlier, I wanted to do the game where the player moves the other way, so I just flip the sprite, so it's looking like it's moving left, okay? You flip the sprite on the sprite renderer, just press flip X, okay, so check the X part, and then the character will be facing to the left, okay? And as everything's moving to the right, it would look like the player is actually moving to the right. Anyway, back to the animation part. The player, they have already, in the package, the player comes with the animation. so you don't have to do the animation. I was actually thinking that I have to do the animation, but well, thanks to the package owner, whoever created that, they given us the animation. Although it's not that hard, you just hold down the sprites and just drag it over. Okay. By the way, here you can see like the oh, right now the player doesn't have rigid body. The moment I add rigid body, everything goes south. Everything goes south because the player falls down. Right, the player falls down. And that is like, I've just, and you know, to this point I didn't actually pay. I actually didn't pay. I kept on going because in my mind I was like, okay, this is so simple, I can just do it in my sleep. But as I was doing on camera, I just kept messing up. So I was still holding in pay, and I need to go to the toilet. And yeah, I was trying to fix things, but yeah, it's just gonna get south. You guys can enjoy this part, or you can just skip over. Maybe skip 5 minutes. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. It's on twice the speed, so it's not 5 minutes. Okay. I haven't added the rigid body yet on the player. The moment I add it, the player falls down because of the ground. The fact is, like, remember one of the grounds, they're still on background layer. So my player, when I do add a player layer, I can set it so the player can collide with the ground and not collide with the background, okay? As one of the grounds is still on the background layer, it doesn't collide and it just falls through. And I just, for the love of like anything that exists, I couldn't figure out how to fucking get that. Oops. I hope YouTube doesn't like, take that. Okay, yeah, it does. I just cannot figure out why it wasn't staying on. I hope YouTube doesn't pick it up. Like in Australia, just an F word is that's not swearing, you know, that's just regular. That's a regular talk. Okay, so essentially what I'm doing right now is I've just created a folder for the player scripts, created a player move script, essentially jump script, okay? And you'd see me getting annoyed, frustrated with the jump. I initially wanted to use the transform jump. That wasn't a good idea. Although I don't know why I wanted to. Okay, because I had a thing, like I just wanted to do everything using transform for this video, because this has been like a beginner's level video. Here, by the way, I'm just showing you guys how to use different sort of key input systems. So if we have an if block, and inside the block we have input.key get key down. I was just showing you guys the difference between get key down and get key. Okay, so one of them is just you essentially hold it down for it to work. The other one is just you have to keep holding it down, like releasing and holding, okay, like releasing and not holding, pressing. Okay. So yeah, just trying to show you guys that in the editor, and then I remembered, oh, okay, it's not working. Why is it not working? Again, I was just going crazy and crazy and crazy. It's because I haven't paid. No, not really. I was making these errors because I didn't pee. Had to go to the toilet. But yeah, it's because I didn't connect this script. Okay, so come back, and it still wasn't working. I think I'm pretty sure it just still didn't work. So at one point, I lose my head. Okay, I lose my head, and I actually then made a debug statement. Okay, I made a debug statement in the start method. Okay, what I think what's going on is, like, as I didn't really use the jump speed, for some reason there was a compiler issue or something. It never really compiled, or maybe never got attached. And I did a print statement inside the start method. And then yeah, and then it was connected. It just Unity being crazy. Okay, right. What exactly is going on? So then I just launch, and then you can see the difference between the different type of key presses. Okay, and then you can see how it's getting connected. Then I press spacebar. Okay, you can see if I hold it down, it prints really fast. It's like every frame, obviously. And if you just hold the get key down one, you have to keep pressing. So obviously I'm going to use the get key down one, okay, because that's the one that I want to keep pressing. Okay, sorry, I don't want to just spam it and be flying out. Now what I'm trying to show you guys is the get button. Okay, yeah, get button is something that you can use. Get button or get access, you can use these as well. They are more versatile. Okay, so if you go to edit, project settings, input. Okay, so edit, project settings, input manager. There you can see different sort of accesses. Okay, accesses, I don't know what it's called, man. And there you can see how you have fire, horizontal. Okay, so these map to joysticks, keyboards, WASDs on your keyboard. Okay, rather than just using one key at a time, you can just have different sort of keys. And also, like, it helps to in racing games as well. Like, it has gravity, dampen, period, like speed. Like you know how you can gradually speed up. So those are the things you would use get button. I actually use get button for everything, to be honest. I'd never really used get key. This is probably the only time I've used get key in the last couple of years. I would always use get button or get axis actually. So yeah, as you can see, I've initially tried to do transform or translate because as I said, I just made up my mind that I'm not going to use rigid body initially, but that doesn't work at all. So, okay, so don't type it up. I get rid of it. So I wanted to keep things simple. But yeah, I even at one point, because I wasn't really happy with what I was getting with the rigid body jump, so I was like, you know what, let's just make. So yeah, you just add the rigid body, set the gravity scale to 0, obviously, otherwise the player would fall down. I think I show you guys that. Yeah, at one point I was like, you know what, let's just make the custom jump. Okay, how, like, it's not that, it's just a script of like maybe 5 to 10 lines, but you know, we have to use enum. We have to, like, I wanted to use try catch, so I skipped over it. Luckily, I found some numbers on the rigid body that did help with the jump. So yeah, don't use the transform. The translate doesn't have. By the way, yeah, at this point I figured out. Oh no, I still haven't. It still hasn't dawned upon me that I have made a blunder. By the way, yeah, add a new layer called player and set the player to the player layer. It's fun to say that. And go to edit, project settings, then the physics 2D, turn off everything except player versus ground, obviously. Now at this point, I don't even know that I haven't, like, one of the grounds isn't on ground, okay? Isn't on ground layer. So you'd see what happens. Like, my player falls down. The moment it goes to the second ground, it falls down. And so this is like me. So at this point, I was just losing my mind. I was like, okay, what is going on? Okay, and I'm just reliving the pain. So I think at this point, at this stage, I think I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm gonna pause the video. I'm gonna go and pay and come back, because I tested it like 5-10 times, and then logically there's nothing wrong. Okay, and there's actually nothing wrong except for the fact that I didn't put one of my grounds on the ground layer. Okay, so I was just killing myself. Okay, so like, you know what, let's just stop, go pee, wash your face, come back and see what's going on. So looking at the kinematic, looking at the what's going on, like with the collision boxes, everything was right, because it is right. Okay, it's just I need to change the grounds to the ground layer. Okay, so yeah, I didn't do that. I think it still hasn't dawned upon me. I still haven't done it. I still haven't figured it out. I'm rescaling. There you go. It still hasn't dawned upon me. I still haven't seen that's in the background layer. Oh my, poor me. Oh, poor me. Okay, I'm testing. You guys can laugh if you're watching. Yep, still hasn't. I'm still trying to figure. I'm desperately trying to figure out what's going on, because like everything is there. So at this point, I figured out, okay, there's something wrong with the second ground. Okay, I'm slowly building towards, slowly getting towards that realization. I wish I had my face recorded. That, oh my god, the ground is not on the ground layer. Okay, I was trying to do the jump as well. Silly me. When exactly do I there you go. Fine, we have finally realized the ground is not on the ground layer. There you go. So finally fixed it, so the player can stay up. Okay, the player can stay up. But then I actually ran into another issue where there's a gap again between the grounds, like exactly like what we had with the sky. There was an issue with the ground as well. Like there was a gap and the player fell down. But yeah, that was a painful 10-15 minutes, because I had everything working. By the way, I'm doing the jump, but as you can see, like, oh, there you go. That's a gap. Hated that. Okay, absolutely hated that. Okay, where exactly are we? I think we're trying to work on the jump. So as I said, don't do the transform translate. I do change it to the rigid body, because I wouldn't say that's 10 times better, but it's just better, okay, than whatever. I do want to swear so bad, can't swear for YouTube. But yeah, okay. So I do try to play around with numbers, with gravity scale. I set it to gravity 0.2 at one point, but what that did was it made my fall really slow. Okay, so the gravity is so weak, it doesn't bring me down quite as fast, and I was so tempted to bring it down because like actually you would never use jumps like this in any sort of like stealth or like platformer games. You'd have your own custom jumps, which I never use rigid body jumps right away like this, unless like I'm doing something like this, like really simple. So here I just created a rigid body field. So at this point I'm like giving up on transform. So yeah, rigid body, and whenever you're using rigid body, be sure to use fixed update. Okay, that is like the update that will run on a fixed amount of time, so we don't have any sort of mess ups in our physics calculation. Okay, so rigid body RB, okay, then in the start method I get the component RB equals to get component. You can also do it in public way, you can just get the reference, but in this case I just do RB equals to get component rigid body 2D, so I get the reference to the rigid body and then I start using it. Okay, so I set the velocity and I just start working with the numbers. Okay, you don't have to watch me struggle through the numbers. I think I went with 400 in the end, so jump speed is 200 there, but I can change it to 400 and I think 0.9 of the gravity scale. That was the last of it. Okay, obviously this jump speed also, the jumping requires a cap as well. Like we need to cap it off. I don't want it to like do double triple infinite jumps, but right now we're just figuring out the speed. Okay, it was just me figuring out the speed. What exactly I'm trying to do here? Why is there a collision? I created a collision method at some point that I didn't even realize. Well, if you guys haven't made one, I guess make one. It's on collision 2D antis because of the way collide. Oh no, we're just trying to see if I can collide with the door, with the ground. I think this is because I want to cap my ground. Okay, I can add a variable, private boolean, so bool can jump, set it to true. Okay, I don't know why I was trying to set it to false first. Set it to true. The moment I hit something, obviously I'm hitting the ground. Okay, I'll set the I will hit the not hit, make the can jump true. So if can jump, you add the velocity, rigid body velocity, vector up, jump speed, time to delta time. Wait, it should be timed at fixed delta time. By the way, that's it should be timed at fixed delta time. So for fixed updates, you always use fixed delta time. Okay, not fixed, not timed to delta time. So that's a correction. Okay, I'll put a text up. If I don't, just yeah, the code would be fixed delta time, not timed to delta time. Okay. Okay, so what exactly I'm trying to do? Okay, so yeah, I was testing out the double jump, so I can't double jump anymore. Okay, so you have to hit the ground in order to jump. If you see me jumping in the air, that's my slow laptop missing some frames. Okay, so once I'm done with that, I just dive into adding in our cactuses. Okay, so we put in cactus, we set the order and layer. I think it was all on 4. The player is on 4. Oh, you know what? There was a problem actually. You guys would see. We create a cactus resetter, and this again, you can follow this item to follow this idea to create the the cloud resetter and the rock resetter. Yeah, so there was a problem. So I create the resetters for my cactuses. Okay. Obviously, there are different resetters, and you'll see the issue. So I add another layer here, and that would be cactus. And all the cactuses would go on cactus layer. Okay. Now, what do I do? Oh yeah, I'm just trying to disable everything so I can see it better. So I say I create an empty object, exactly the same concept as the resetters for the ground object, for the background object. So I create a cactus resetter right, set a box collider, set it to set the center of gravity to the lowest point of the cactus. Okay, the Y position on the cactus. I actually didn't do a good job of it initially, so you guys make sure you do it right. So you have a cactus reset on the right and a cactus reset on the left. And yeah, what was the error that I ran into? Oh, the error, yeah, the Z position. Have a look at my screen. I can see that now. See, the Z position is -58, so it was going way behind everything. Okay, which was actually kind of annoying me. I have no idea. Like, I don't actually know. I'm not gonna pretend that I know why it had the -58. If anyone knows, do comment in the comment section. But yeah, the resetters were -58 for the Zs. So what happened for that was, oh, I remember I still didn't pay. I think I didn't pay, but even like he asked, like I paid once. I went to the toilet once. I was done working with the cactuses. Okay, so oh my god, I'm feeling bad for my past self now. Anyway, so I didn't realize the cactus resetters were on. Oh, okay, there's another layer. Okay, cactus resetter layer. I think I didn't really need that. I don't know why I created that. But yeah, cactus resetter layer would only collide with the cactus items. Okay, so it just collide. The cactus resetter would just collide with cactus resetter. Okay, there you go, cactus resetter. Okay, it's less calculation for the computer. Right. Yeah, the problem was, as I am resetting the cactuses to the left, okay, with all the transform positions, the cactuses were going behind everything as well. Okay, so the resetter cactus script is kind of, I actually didn't do any. I didn't do another script. I actually reused my background reset script. Okay, so when I think that's what I did, didn't I? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so just dragged over the reset script there, and drag the resetter left of the cactus resetter, left onto the resetter left option, and then I was just ready to rumble. Okay, just ready to rumble. Just selected all the cactuses and then added a box collider. And then added a rigid body collider as well. Okay, I made it is trigger, but I don't think it needed to be is trigger, to be honest. But obviously, if you don't make it is trigger, oh, that's kinematic. If you don't do it is trigger, please make sure you're using the collision enter 2D method, not is trigger method. Okay. So now I run into that problem, and I still didn't go to the toilet, and there you go. So why was I removing the component? What exactly was I trying to do? I was adding a cactus move. Oh, so I was trying to reuse the move from the background, but I realized that I can't use that. But that's because like the cactus would speed up. Okay, in the game, the Dino game, the cactus they speed up. So I had to create another script where we're gonna speed things up. Okay. So transform translate vector right time to delta time, and then speed. So create a speed variable. And yeah, that's about it actually. The problem starts the moment they start resetting. Okay, I was kind of at a loss because they are being reset, and I knew the order layer was okay, so I had no idea why they were getting, like you'd see in the game view, and now like in the game view. Okay, here you go. So in the game view, they wouldn't come back. In the scene view, I can literally see them respawning. Okay, in the game view, they went. So yeah, I was bursting at that point. Okay, with pay. Sorry about that. And yeah, and it wasn't working. So I was just losing my mind. I was like, okay, what exactly is going on? Anywho, I don't know how I figured it out. I think it happened to me before. I was just looking at the transform. So there's a quick tip. Okay, do look at the transform because that gives you the best idea. I come from a Java background, and I didn't really use editors when I was in high school. So I started coding. So I made this channel when I was in high school. So I used to like print everything in like debugger consoles. I used that in Eclipse. Okay, so even to this day, I'm not quite used to using features like these sort of fancy features. I would much rather print stuff or debug stuff myself, like to see, because I'm so like initially when I started using Unity, I was finding it difficult for me because I'm so used to doing there you go, eureka moment. I figured out that okay, they were getting to 58 anyway. So yeah, I was so used to doing everything by myself. You can use shaders actually in Java, like there's the OpenGL. I think it's called Jog or Jom, forgot. Anyway, sorry. This is a brain freeze moment. Don't do line 17, okay? This is the brain freeze moment. I was having this is like brain cramp. It is quite literally the coding equivalent of brain cramp, okay? A guy who needs to pay isn't paying and trying to code. Okay, this is what it is. So I was trying to set the vector. I was trying to make the transform of all the items to, like, all the cactuses. Okay, I was trying to set this vector to 0 for the z, like the axis set to 0. In the process, what I've done is I have stored the initial position and I'm just resetting it back to the initial, like it's never moving. Okay, it captures the initial position and then it just resets it back to that particular point all the time, over and over again. So just basically you're making a stay still function. And I think at this point I did go to the toilet. I think at this point I did go. So yeah, I paused the video. Yeah, LOL, yeah, I came back, and then I was like, okay, you know what? And this is now me being refreshed, I think. So, I was like, what the actual flunking. Okay, that's not a swear about YouTube. I don't know what that is. Okay. So yeah, there you go. It didn't really need to do anything other than, you know, just change the resetter, like just go to the resetter right and resetter left, just change the Z position, and that was it. We were all sweet. Okay, that took up like 10-15 minutes that I could have shaved off from the video. Anyway, so our cactus would be resetting. I actually disabled my sky and ground because I don't have the resetter for that. You guys can have as resetters. Don't really matter. Okay, so my ground is working, my cactus is working, my sky, well, that's not an important issue right now. I think next we're going to move on to, oh yeah, disable the rocks. Okay, next we're going to move on to the, what do you call it? The collision for the player and the cactus, okay? Which is the fun part before we jump onto the UI bit, okay? Before we jump onto the UI for the game and the score, okay? What exactly? Yeah, I'm just trying to see how it is. Okay, I think at one point I do make the what do you call the cactus grow, not grow bigger, like go up a bit. There you go. You guys can skip forward a bit. It's just me trying to position the cactus. Me with a dodgy ass script trying to fake perfection in my cactus's positioning. By the way, if you do position cactus, make sure you don't have the, you reset the resetter on the left as well. Okay, the reason I said dodgy as script is because as I was running out of time, okay, I did everything on my player move, quite literally everything. Okay, what I'm doing, what exactly? If collided with cactus. Oh yeah, I was trying to just write a. So if I collide with the cactus, I want to not exactly die. I want to actually have a UI, like a panel that says, you know, game over, something like that. Okay. So I'm creating a constant layer, just to have my code neat. Not really pretentious. I actually do this quite a lot. In my projects, I wouldn't recommend you guys do it because I don't know if this is a good practice or not. I just find that this helps me keep my code. It helps me keep my code more readable. Okay, and I forgot to add the int part. Anyway, so cactus layer. So if I hit the cactus, I actually wanted to spawn or enable a panel with a UI text. But for now, I just did scene manager.load scene and just reloaded the scene. But that's not the end goal. As I said, like I do a lot of coding on the move script, which should have been done in other scripts, to be honest. Like in all fairness, I would have done it in another script. But as I said, I was just running out of time, and I just did everything in the same script. So what do I write? That's what I need to spawn need to bring up the panel. Yeah, I need to bring up the score panel. So yeah, essentially I'm going to reload, but I don't want to reload right away. I want to bring up a score panel that will show us the score, and then we are going to reload the scene. Okay, just trying to see if it's really late here or not. Okay, what exactly I'm trying to do? Just copy the name, put the name in. If you reload now, I mean, obviously load, save, and if you come back to Unity, load, that is play, my friends. And again, I was just losing my mind. I actually don't remember why it wasn't working. I think I didn't put, I don't remember honestly at this point. I don't remember what I did or what I didn't. Oh, why does it have an is trigger on? I have no idea. Why did I do an is trigger? Because of what? So I did it. I had that as a trigger. So I obviously made an on trigger enter 2D method. Okay, but why do we need the cactus to? I don't know, man. What I was thinking, but okay, this is what I've done. The cactuses are triggers, and there you're dying. What exactly? Why exactly do I need this to be a trigger? I mean, it could have done it another way, right? Anyway, so yeah, in my project, okay, apparently they are triggers. So yeah. What exactly am I doing? Where am I? Oh, I'm in the cactus speed. Okay, so this is gonna be fun. As like I wasn't good. I'm not actually good at these games. Okay, so what I did was, so I'm making a timer here. So like every second, every certain interval, the speed would go up of the cactus. Okay, but I'm not good at testing. I don't know how long I can keep my player alive. Okay, I should have actually tested this out before making my player die. Anyway, so what I do is I make an timer, obviously. So I made a custom of like separate function so that my code is neat. This function is nothing but like have a timer, keep track of how many seconds has gone by, and if timer is equals to some number, then time to delta time gives you the refresh. So like essentially the time between two frames. Okay. So if why did I go with 10 seconds, bro? That's a lot of. I can't stay alive for 10 seconds. Should have known myself better. Okay, so if timer is greater than equals to that interval, you speed up. Okay, so I don't really make my timer go back to 0 because I just wanted you guys to see how it speeds up. Okay, because I didn't really spend much time testing it out and like didn't spend much time to show you guys how it works. So yeah, but the thing is I can't stay alive for 10 seconds. So what did I do? Oh yeah, I was trying to show you guys the debugging, the debug mode. Okay, so in the editor inspector you can have the debugger on, and that gives you like access to all these variables, the private variables. So here you can see the interval, the speed. Okay, although you can't keep an eye on speed. I just die too often. Okay, the only way, and that's why I made it so like the cactus speed up so fast that it's quite obvious to you that I survived 10 seconds of the cactus speed up. Okay, maybe this is the time I still died. Do I die again? No, I didn't die. Do I die again? I died again. Oh my god, this is embarrassing. Yeah, okay. So you would see how like they go at a I think you saw that right. The cactus go at a lightning speed, and that's because like it's adding speed every frame. So once it's tested out that it's working, I set the timer to 0, so it doesn't speed up that fast. Just gradually speeds up every 10 seconds. Okay. So timer is reset to 0, and we're done with the cactus speeding up as well. So all is. What do we have left? Oh, so we're gonna do this score first. Okay, I think I do the score first, or do I do a UI? No, I think I go to the player move. Yep, as I said, I do every single thing in here because I was running out of time. So yeah, so I do a private float score variable. Obviously starts at 0. Int. Why do we need it to be a float? Don't need a float. No floating. I don't know if you guys saw the 100 series. There's a saying that says "Go float yourself" because they lived in a space. Anyways, never mind. So yeah, again a timer, private float timer equals to 0, just so I can keep track of my time. Okay, and update function I go timer plus equals time to delta time to keep the keep adding the time between frames, and if time between frames reaches I don't know how many seconds, 1 minute. Okay, I'm getting a point, I guess apparently. So it's reset the timer back to 0, so I don't get continuous points, and then score plus. Okay, so that's gonna give me points. I think I move on to UI. I didn't even test it. Okay, I mean that for me. I mean, there's no point of me testing most of the things out anyways, other than me not messing up stuff. So I move directly to UI. So right click on the hierarchy UI and then create why am I creating an image? It should be a text. So when you do that, you get a canvas. By the way, I forgot to do this right away, but on the canvas, make it so it scales. It doesn't scale to constant pixel scale. It scales with screen size. Okay, so click on canvas and change it. I do change it towards the end. Okay, right now I'm just click on the text and I'm just resetting the transform so I can see the text. Okay, I was struggling to see it, so what I did was I changed the color to white so I can see it better. And at one point I was like, you know what, yeah, nah, just make it so the text font was too big for the height, so I was like, you know what, let's make it really big so I can clearly see it. Okay, I don't remember what I did. I think it would have been 25 with 300 width. Okay, or maybe 200 to change it towards the end. There you go. So that's the text score equals to 0. I didn't really bother dragging in any fonts from Google Font or anything, but you guys can use fonts if you want to. Adding a shadow component just to, you know, add some shadow. It just looks nicer, I guess. I mean, not I guess. I do think they look nice. If anyone says they don't look nice, well, that's your opinion, but I think they look nice. So that's my score. Now I need to create a script. Well, I have the script. I just need a reference, actually. I think I do run into a null point exception because I was just rushing so fast. So right now I'm going to just go back to my move script and create a public text reference. So I have an access to the text, and inside the update method, oh wait, score text, because I already have a variable called score. Inside the update, I go score text dot text equals to whatever text I set it to, okay? So score, then score, okay? Problem was it's not gonna work. That's because I never really assigned the reference. Okay, I was just rushing through, but eventually I realized I didn't set the. Wait, what exactly am I trying to do? Oh, okay. When you die, you reset the score. See, I'm like rushing so fast that I didn't like not testing stuffs in chunks. I'm like doing everything as I go. So yeah, although it doesn't work right now because I haven't assigned the reference. You guys can do that, you know, ahead of me. So not gonna work obviously. And there's a null pointer exception at the very bottom. You can see there's a null pointer exception. So click on the player object and then drag the text onto the text field on the move script. Okay, and that will get the reference, and that would enable us to gain some scores. Okay, there you go. You're getting score, and the moment you die, you reset. Okay. There's a problem actually with this. This is not the best implementation, because the moment you die, if you bring up a canvas, well, what happens then? You know, the score would keep going up. Not a big issue. We can just add a private variable called is alive or is dead or whatever. Okay. So we add another. So this is where I'm getting to the panel. Okay, the panel is essentially like a placeholder. Do some resizing on the transform rect. Rect transform. Okay, and what up, bro? Yeah, we can say about text. Oh yeah, I think I was just trying to get the text so we can see the score. Don't I do a game over or something? Oh yeah, I wanted to do a game over plus the score, but like I was like, you know, yeah, nah, we have done the score, it's getting late. So yeah, you'd see me having two texts, but it ended up I just dropped one of them. I was like, yeah, it was getting late, and yeah. And I am kind of losing my voice right now. Hopefully, we are really close to the end of the video. Yeah, there you go. So that was my initial plan. I was just gonna get rid of the score at the top and have the score in the middle when we die. But you're like, you know what? Yeah, nah, just game over. Make it a big ass font. Bold italic. Ooh, wow, okay, fancy. What? Yep, exclamation mark. Who doesn't like exclamation mark, mate? Okay, sorry. You go UI button. So this button would be responsible for us to restart the game. I think I was just looking for another font, another image. Just clicked on the back source image to change it to that. Text, obviously restart. Okay, change the color. Did I do? I didn't do a shadow. Yeah, I was running out of time anyways. So, what else? I did some positioning. Although honestly, I wouldn't have done it like this. There are a lot of things wrong with the way it's just I'm just doing it so we can just get through the functionalities. So I added a public restart game, and all the restart codes would go inside that function now. Okay, and then a public reference to the panel. Okay, and that panel would get activated when we die. Okay, so instead of dying right away, we shifted all the die functionalities into another function. Okay, and instead of like dying, we're just gonna enable that panel. Okay, and I forgot to disable the panel. Oh no, I actually forgot to drag in the reference. So again, the first code wasn't working properly. Okay, which was sad and disappointing. So by the way, you just click on the button, then click on the plus, drag in the player, transform player object, and then select the function which is restart game that we defined. Okay, and that would enable you to just like reload and set the score to 0. Also, I want to like destroy the sprite renderer because I don't want to see the dragon behind. I mean, if I had a actual die animation, I'd replayed it there, but yeah, I don't really want to see the animated dragon running around, and also the collider because I don't want this to be colliding with anything. Okay, again, these could have just been used with the private variable, which I eventually do use. Okay, so it was kind of like pointless at the moment, but yeah, I didn't implement the variables for the game over. Okay, so yeah, I can see that. Okay, the player is missing the panel reference, so click on the player, move script, and then drag over the panel into the panel field, and then you can see how when I die, the problem was, I don't know if you guys saw that, the problem was the score still kept updating, and this is where we introduced the is alive variable. I think, oh, did I call it is dead? I forgot actually. I think I call it is alive, is player alive or dead. We're going with alive. Okay, the player is obviously going to be live when the game starts, but the moment it hits, what do you call it? Oh yeah, so you increment the score only if the player is alive, and you make the player die when you hit the cactus. So yeah, you can see how like we could have just used that to like destroy everything else. Anyway, so yeah, that would give you, my friends, the game. And yeah, so that has been the Dino game in, well, in an hour, an hour-ish. Okay, not an hour, less than half. Okay, 1.5 hours for sure. Okay, 1.5 hours for sure. If you guys like any sort of like if you guys like these contents, please do like my video. It's been an absolute actually kind of a blast, and obviously a bit of hard work as well, and I do enjoy making videos like these. Okay, so if you like to stay tuned, and if you want me to see, oh, there you go, changing the constant scale size finally. So yeah, if you guys want to see more videos like these, please like and subscribe, and in the comments let me know what you thought about the game. Thank you, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.